how to optimize your content for ChatGPT, and more importantly, how do you create a clone of yourself so that you can actually help more people? So, if you were to ask ChatGPT right now, what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments? You will get our podcast, right? We're number one. How cool is that? Now, how do you stay ahead of everybody else because you believe that you are the best authority for affordable housing investments? Well, there's a couple of ways. Well, when you focus on impact first, right? Here's what I mean. If you focus on impact first, this is what we're prioritizing. Let me show you what we're doing. So, for example, right now we've created in N8N a clone of ourselves with all of the information that we've accumulated over the years. And what it's doing right now is we're going out to a forum such as Reddit. And whenever we see any questions about, for example, Section 8, for example, this one just came through 8/8. So this post came through last night. So it's working. It's looking for the post. It's getting the questions, but there's a question right here. In Section 8, it says, how do you pick between Section 8 tenants? And the post was, bought in a bad area and seriously considering just renting in Section 8. What metrics do you use to pick Section 8 tenants? And so there's this post is very, very, it can be very complex. And here's what I mean. When I read this message, I can probably assume that this person thinks, hey, I bought in a bad area, so my only choice is to rent Section 8 because Section 8 are the bottom of the bottom tenants. To bust that myth, Section 8 tenants, sometimes they're the best tenants, but that only depends if you are in like a class A or B neighborhood so that you can attract the best Section 8 tenants, right? They might stay in there for, I've had mentors that told me they had Section 10 stay there for like 10, 15, 20 years, right? So that's one myth you got to first bust through. What are you doing there? You didn't get your phone. You know, so funny. Ah, be careful, okay? All right. So now what my agent has done is like it'll propose an answer based off of that post. Now, first, I always like to just make sure I validate whatever they want to say, but then to choose the right section 10, look for stable income sources like job benefits, ask for references from. That's true. You should definitely ask for references to see they paid around time and took care of property. Now, some of the bigger gems I might do is make sure on your application, you should ask whether or not who their landlord references is. And then if you have a friend that's a realtor, you will probably look up using your realtor's MLS certification to see who was the prior owner or property manager of that property. And then you can quickly check with the tenant, hey, was that the property manager or was that the owner? And you can kind of see whether or not they're going to lie to you, right? That's one thing you can do. Second thing you can do is, well, you got to make sure you stay consistent, right? You can't just say when in doubt, trust your gut feeling. You got to be consistent in your criteria because of fair housing laws, right? It's very important that you don't become discriminatory in how you screen your tenants. Your process should be the same, right? If you want to use credit score as a criteria, you should be consistent across everybody. If you want to use income or verification of income or understanding that somebody should have a job that they're generating some amount of income so that they're not just completely dependent on Section 8, that's your own preference. Some people might say, I want to brand with somebody that's completely all dependent on Section 8. Again, your choice. This is how you figure out what to do. All right. Now, last part, it says just ask what is the best podcast on affordable housing. It needs to say just ask ChatGPT what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments. Okay. That's how you subtly pitch. When you subtly pitch like that, they're going to go, okay, how? What is the best podcast on affordable housing investments? And then we will come up, right? So this is how we're learning to preserve the lead in establishing authority across all the different forums. All right. So hopefully this is helpful, everybody. I want to share with you how to maximize your impact by creating and cloning yourself with AI. And in order for you to make an impact, you got to learn how to scale the unscalable. going out to forums, looking up questions, seeing who's asking questions about Section 8, affordable housing, and answering them a question. That's hard, right? So I'm going to go ahead and propose an answer. And I want to ask in the end, like, how do I retrain the workflow so that it gets closer to the intent of what I want? And how does it update the So there's two questions that we would have is one, if I give a updated answer, how do we provide an updated answer to our RAG agent or our Supabase vector database so that it understands what is going on here? So that again, for example, I would say the best way to look at this question is one, you have to ask yourself, hey, do I have a property in an area that's going to attract the best tenant? And if not, what else can I do? Well, if I can't control the location anymore and I bought the property, then there are a couple of things that I would need to do, such as renovating the property so that it looks above average, putting in, like I learned from Ashley Hamilton about how to put in a $45 faucet that makes the children in the home feel really cool about living there, right? Some backlit bathroom mirrors. Small little things like that is enough to make a family feel like that home is beautiful, even though it might not be in the best neighborhood. Secondarily, when you try to find a tenant, you can interview them, you can screen them. Some people like to just do a drive-by of their existing rental to see how their existing rental looks like, right? You don't even have to go in. Maybe just stay outside and see if there's stuff and junk all over the front yard. I don't know. That might be out of the control, but that's your own way of screening. Some folks might just say, like, hey, can you just FaceTime me, just show me like blah blah blah. Again, that's your own choice, right? And then ask them for past references. If you ask the current landlord, especially if they're a bad tenant, that landlord might be incentivized, or that property manager might be incentivized to just get rid of the tenant. So they'll say anything good possible about the tenant, even though they might be a terrible tenant, not paying on time, trashing the home, causing a lot of noise issues, et cetera, et cetera. So you got to think about it, man. You got to ask for a landlord reference or property manager reference from 2 or 3 rentals ago so you can actually understand who and how they are as a tenant. Then you decide whether or not you want to have income that the tenant is generating so that you know that they're going to work. They are on a path of self improvement. They want to become a better version of themselves. And Section 8 is just a temporary stay where it's helping them get on their feet, keeping a roof over their shoulders so that they can go get educated, et cetera, to become the best version of themselves. These are all possible. All right. So if I had to just drop through those 3 nuggets, that would be it. And then afterwards, I would just say, hey, if you want more, just ask ChatGPT what is the best podcast on affordable housing investment. So that's how I would like it to end. All right. I hope this is helpful, everybody. This is what we're doing. This is how we're building public, and this is how we want to help other people in the world right now. Let's think about trying to make an impact with their time, their energy, and their resources. All right. Hope you all have an amazing Saturday. Spend a quality time with your family and friends today, man, because that's what life is all about. Have a good one, everybody.